I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors for Tuesday, January 28th, 2020. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll and establish a quorum?
Good morning, Supervisors. Frost? Here. Natoli?
Here.
Peters? Here. Cerna?
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Great, thank you.
This meeting of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse cable systems. The meeting is closed caption and is webcast at sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will be repeated Friday, January 31st at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting is also broadcast live on KUBU Radio on 96.5 FM. A DVD copy is available for checkout from any local library branch. Members of the audience wishing to address the board may fill out a speaker slip and hand it to staff. When the chair calls your name, please come to the podium. Also, please silence your electronic devices at this time.
Great, thank you. Ms. Newton, will you lead us in the pledge this morning?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so again, we have, just as a reminder, we have speaker slips in the back. We also have staff to assist in completing those speaker slips. If you would please write clearly and print your name, the chair would greatly appreciate that. And certainly we welcome the public's input here in these chambers on any item that's on our printed agenda or any item that is not on our agenda. We do request that you keep your comments to 3 minutes, and we have that in place so that everyone can address the board if they so choose. In addition to that standard statement that the chair typically reads, I'm going to add something this morning, and would ask that my colleagues take note as they will rotate in as chair in subsequent years. And I feel compelled to make this statement based on some recent history of testimony in these chambers. And I've worked carefully with our county council to make sure that whatever admonishment I might make this morning and in subsequent meetings, I do so carefully as it relates to a constitutional right to free speech. But we've unfortunately had some testimony in these chambers from people that have been very passionate on the subject to which they've wanted to address, and their use of profanity has really escalated in recent weeks. And I'm not going to mention names, I'm not going to mention groups, but I do feel compelled as chair to remind folks that it's not just in these chambers that you're witnessing what is said by the members of the board, by the public, but we are broadcast live and we are recorded for later viewing by the general public. And many of the people that tend to watch us are young people, and they're people that, in fact, in many instances are watching us for various reasons, including direction by their instructors in various grade levels to see how civic participation works, to note how local government works. And I just feel compelled as chair to remind folks to please be cognizant of the language that you use here. We would hope that you would refrain from the use of profanity. Obviously, there you have the right to free speech, but we would respectfully ask that of anyone that wishes to address this board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So with that, our first item.
Okay, for your consent matters, items 1 through 46. For item number 9, you're introducing an ordinance to revise Title II, Chapter 2.56, Section 2.56.420, relating to the Procurement Opportunities Program, Small and Micro Business Enterprise definitions. You're waiving reading and continuing to February 11th for adoption. For item 30, we have a request to continue this, so you're not introducing this ordinance, repealing and reenacting county building codes.
Can I ask why, what's the purpose or reason for the continuance?
Questions came up during briefing, and we would like to continue it, satisfy some of those questions that we got asked.
I assume it's not time sensitive then?
Not at this moment.
Okay, good.
So I will need a motion to continue item 30.
Okay, is there a motion to continue item 30?
Yeah.
Moved by Supervisor Frost, seconded by Supervisor Tolley. Please vote.
Mr. Chair,
Unanimous
I would
vote.
just say, too, I appreciate Mr. Gill responding that I actually had some questions about portions not related to necessarily changes incorporating fire code, but some other relate to actually to counties oversight on certain matters, and some of that in the agricultural residential areas, so I didn't have a chance to get briefed on it.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That concludes my notes, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, any member of the board wish to pull an item from our consent calendar for separate discussion or vote, or make statements or comments about issues? And Mr. Tully.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to just briefly, I know we received quite a bit of correspondence on item 2, and I think it's covered in the staff report, but I felt it might be helpful for those that might be tuning in as it relates to the cultural awards. I don't know if you want to call that, Madam Clerk.
If I can interject, we do have 3 speakers
Oh, you do?
so far
Okay, I didn't
signed
know.
up to
Okay,
speak to
that's
item
what
2, so we'll be pulling that for separate.
That's fine. All right, and then, okay, great. The other item was 2 items, item 25, and you don't need to read the whole thing, just maybe to give the summary, and I'll make my comments.
Item 25, authority to establish an open enrollment contract pool in the amount of $2.5 million for fiscal year 2019-20 for the provision of adult residential treatment program services. Also to open enrollment contract pool for the provision of augmented board and care program services for adults with serious mental illness. And then the authority to contract with qualified providers within both contract pools.
Okay, thank you, Flo. My comment here is that I support the item, and actually last week I had an opportunity to ride with the Ombudsman for both the response to, as an advocate for folks that are either in placement and are living in a number of the facilities that are referenced here generally. And I guess my comment, maybe Bruce, you could field this, is that in moving in this direction, that board and care operations aren't, there is a standard, but they're not all operated the same. And I think it's really important, the work that the Ombudsman does on behalf of folks who are receiving services. And I get to see a whole range of facilities, those for the elderly, skilled nursing, assisted living, and board and care. And generally found to be pretty favorable, but there is a range out there. And so as we begin to move to a direction where we're actually going to assist with placements for those that are challenged with mental illness and other health issues, I just think it's really important that we keep in mind that not only in the placements but in the assisting folks and hopefully getting proper care, treatment, and housing, that we also make sure that the operations beyond what community care licensing is responsible for. And I know our Ombudsman has a role, so I guess I just would ask that as we move in this direction and we're going to spend significant dollars to assist folks, that we make sure that not only proper and appropriate placements, but also the facilities are maintained in a fashion that all of us would want for us or for our loved ones as far as living arrangements. So.
Well, thank you for your comment, Supervisor. We'll be absolutely sure to do that. We've talked about this issue before here, and that is a priority for us, absolutely.
Right. And again, I know, but there's a range out there, and I think we're using public dollars to assist in this regard, so I just wanted to be sure. So, and again, the Ombudsman, works out under Area 4 auspices, but they serve the 7-county region and serve as an advocate, obviously, for those that are living in those homes, but there's also, obviously, regulatory oversight for some of those facilities as well. So, okay, thanks. And I had one other item.
Okay.
Item 36, if I could.
Item 36 is the approval of a contract for the North Douglas Pressure Reducing Station Project plans and specifications, bids to be received on March 5th.
And I know in my briefing yesterday was my last item, and I touched base with Mr. Gill on, so there may have been some response come through this morning, but my question on this is, I support the project, but when I looked at the statement of estimated project costs for a $486,000 project, $297,000 is devoted to the actual construction as estimated, and $189,000, almost $190,000 for engineering, design, O&M, blah, blah, blah. And that just seems to me to be fair for a fairly modest project. $190,000 in soft costs seem to be, a bit out there. So I guess my question is that is somebody taking a look at that and why so high on this particular project?
I have Director of Water Resources. He's going to address that.
Okay. Morning, Michael.
Good morning. Michael Peterson, Department of Water Resources. In terms of the relative proportion of soft cost to the overall cost, it's an atypical ratio, but the nature of this project is also atypical from a normal transmission line project. There's a lot of electrical consultant support in terms of the telemetry. Tying this pressure reducing valve into our existing operational system requires more actual O&M staff and management involvement in that process. It normally would be part of a larger project, but the nature of those additional costs, in particular the consultant costs and the O&M support, they do stand out relative to the construction cost. Had this been even a larger or smaller PRV, that scale of cost is fairly typical for this kind of project, similar to a pump station or any kind of a plant type of project.
Okay. It might be helpful in the future, Michael, if there's an atypical situation, either by virtue of the work that's being required and/or obviously an anomaly that shows a higher cost, accordingly, that maybe that could be covered in the staff.
Yeah, if we can include some characterization of the nature of the project,
yeah.
Sure.
Okay, that'd be very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks. That's all I have.
Other members of the board have items they want to pull for separate consideration? All right. I know that we do have, as I just mentioned, speakers on item 2, but before we get there, I just want to make note about item 23, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Item 23 is the retroactive authority to apply for a $2,621,407 one-time grant for whole person care funding and the authority to execute a revenue agreement with the State of California Department of Health Care Services. And this would be through June 30th, 2025.
Great, thank you. So what I want to mention this morning is I just kind of want to give you give the public a preview of coming attractions, and certainly because this is the only time that the 5 of us legally can get together and have conversations on matters of public policy and resource allocation. But just as recently as yesterday afternoon, I had a very productive conversation with our CEO, with Lori Miller, head of our behavioral services, and others, to discuss the prospect of looking at this resource pool for a very concerted intervention and interdiction set of programs and services aimed at really addressing holistically the methamphetamine epidemic in Sacramento County. And as many of you here in Chambers, especially our senior executive staff, know, it's something that I think all 5 of us have expressed concern about in all 5 of our districts. It's a rampant epidemic. It has much to do in many cases with people's circumstance being unsheltered, and certainly comes with a very noticeable criminality angle to it. It's a particular substance that it's just, to me, it's one of the most important things that we should be addressing much better, quite frankly, here in Sacramento County. I think this opportunity to work with our state partners to find those resources is a great one. You'll note on page 3 of the board letter that there's an intent to develop programming around this, should we be fortunate enough to receive the funds. And I just want to kind of give a general heads up to my colleagues, especially that as chair of this year, that's kind of one of the initiatives that I want to help lead with your support. And I know that the city of Sacramento has also expressed much interest recently on the subject of methamphetamine interdiction and intervention. And so I think we have an opportunity to also partner with our municipal friends down the street and across the county. So I just want to make mention of that this morning. Supervisor Peters.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to also mention item 27. Steve Garrett, the public defender, has found a grant possibility for $4.5 million to implement a felony mental health diversion program, and I just wanted to say kudos to him for locating this grant possibility. He seems to really be attacking his new job with a new vision, and just want to say I was happy to hear that he is moving forward on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there's No other comments about other items on consent. We'll take item 2 at this point.
Oh, sorry. Item 2, approval of the 2020 Cultural Arts Awards Grant Program.
CEO, do you have any opening comments?
A couple quick ones. Brett, could you address the board about the intent of this item and a couple of next steps with arts programs?
Thank you.
Surely, as the board is aware, up until recently, the county was a partner with the city in the Sacramento Metropolitan Arts Commission, which the city chose to dissolve, and therefore, but despite having made that decision to resolve the commission, the city agreed to process the third year of the 3-year current funding cycle for cultural arts awards, and so they went through the normal process of soliciting applications and reviewing those and making recommendations. Those recommendations are the result of that process. This will be the last year that will happen because, as again you know, the city made the decision they did not want to continue in that partnership with the county. As you may know, and as it notes in the agenda item, we will be coming back to the board probably around late April or early May with a revised ordinance that will address how we will proceed with the county's Cultural Arts Award program.
And also in your packet, we do have communication from the City of Sacramento where they were asking the grantees today to come lobby you for future funding to go to the City of Sacramento. As Mr. Ferguson said, that's not the decision in front of you. The decision is, do you want to award the grants that we have? That decision will be made sometime in spring.
Okay. Yeah, one quick question. Just so we avoid confusion, especially for prospective grantees, this will be separate and apart from our annual TOT discussion, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Just want to make that clear.
One other question.
Yeah, Supervisor Tully?
Yep. Brett, as a part of that look that you'll bring back to us, then recognizing obviously there were some choices made at the city level that didn't happen just overnight. Obviously, the entire Arts Commission and the structure of that had been in place for 35 plus years changed, and certainly we agreed to that as a part of their the dissolution of that, and we've kept the art in public places as part of that. Certainly, the cultural awards program. Will your report, or I guess I would suggest that we at least have that as a part of the discussion, that there may be a partnership that, even with a separate program and or funding streams, and in this particular category, we put in a significant sum of dollars of that $500,000 that's available. I would hope that we would have at least that discussion, and it might be even talking with the other 6 cities in the county about that, because the arts don't know necessarily any particular jurisdictional boundaries, and certainly as one county, it would seem to me that, again, the money that's derived from our own TOT tax, obviously, going back to the unincorporated areas, should be a priority. On the other hand, whether you live in Galt or Rancho Cordova or Citrus Heights or any of the other cities, City of Sacramento and so forth, that, school children attend schools in, multiple areas. People come from both in our jurisdictions, but also out of jurisdictions to participate and support a number of these art activities. So I think as a part of that, I guess it would be helpful to have that, and I guess I'm just kind of a precursor that maybe we go it on our own, maybe we decide to do something with all the cities, maybe we do something in partnership with the City of Sacramento, and who contributes and how those decisions are made obviously is going to be a part of what's going to be, the table will be set for us to discuss.
Absolutely. Our intent is, of course, unincorporated. But as you said, arts knows no boundaries, and just to have a partnership just with one municipality, the other municipalities have given us feedback that there might be opportunities that they could partner with us, and we're absolutely open to that. Folsom has brought that up. I know Galt has brought some issues up. Elk Grove has, so that's all that we're taking the input and see how can we strengthen those partnerships.
Okay, and again, I know funding obviously is the core piece of it, but there's other things that we can partner on as well, so, okay.
Any other questions for staff before we hear from members of the public? Okay, great, thank you. All right, I am in receipt of 7 speaker slips. And again, remind folks, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. So first up is Vicki Boyd. And followed by Ms. Boyd will be Julian Dixon.
Board. My name is Vicki Boyd, and I'm the Vice Chair for Women's Wisdom Art. We are a nonprofit that is in strong support of this grant program.
Would you do me a favor and bring the microphones a little closer so we can all hear you? Thank you.
Sir.
Use your outdoor voice.
I'm sorry. We are in strong support of this grant. Women's Wisdom Art is a organization that benefits women of all walks of life in Sacramento County, and we provide a safe environment for women to come and do art as a therapy to, for homelessness, to isolation, to bereavement. And the money that we would receive from this program would go to our basic operating cost, from rent to art supplies that actually, support us. And we're a very small nonprofit. We're 25 years old in Sacramento County, but we provided services for a lot of women throughout all of Sacramento County, and we really need and this money and support just for our operating costs. So again, Women's Wisdom Art is in very strong support of this grant. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, Julian Dixon.
Good morning.
Mr. Dixon will be Mr. Michael Stevenson.
Morning, I'm Julian Dixon. I'm in support of this item 2 and want to offer my perspective where I'm a professional musician with the Sacramento Philharmonic and Opera, tuba, also involved with the Any Given Child program, going into the various school districts, bringing music programs. I'm an educator, I teach at Sac State, and the role that the county provides, the supporting the arts, it helps support how we work as a network. To your point earlier, that there's no boundaries, and I want to come before you saying your collaboration and partnership with the city has been very essential into keeping that strength and hope for what we started in terms of the arts. Like I see in the children's faces as being employed, contributing to the creative economy. I appreciate that role that the county brings to the arts, and do what you can to help sustain and support that, because it needs a long-term support. Whatever you can do to contribute and to continue that. I see it firsthand, and a lot of my colleagues here will speak to that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Michael Stevenson. Is Michael Stevenson here? Yeah, there we go.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, I'm Michael Stevenson. I'm the producing artistic director at Capitol Stage Company in downtown Sacramento. And I just wanted to thank the county for 43 years of funding for the arts. I can tell you firsthand, it has made a critical difference in our organization. Not only do we provide theater, but we also provide classes through Clara, the E. Claire Raley's Performing Arts Center. And I just want to tell you a small story. So we started out in the Delta King as a small theater, literally in the riverboat. We had a 99-seat theater. Through the support of the Cultural Arts Award, it's kept us going, and we've expanded to a theater that's downtown. We bring over 25,000 visitors to downtown every year through our subscription series. This funding has been so important to us, especially in the lean years. It made a critical difference in us, allowing us to make the move and to continue to offer classes and continue to bring live theater to Sacramento. So I just want to encourage you to continue this partnership. It affects us in a really real way. This kind of funding for an institution like ourselves, it's critical for the long-term health of the organization. So I just want to thank you for your support, and I hope you continue to support the county and the city. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you. All right, James Anderson. Following Mr. Anderson will be Laura Ann Walton.
Hello. So I'm the Special Projects Director for Developmental Disability Service Organization, which you will perhaps better know as the umbrella organization for Short Center North. which is in District 3, and Short Center South, which is in District 2. But these are regional organizations. They reach out to adults with developmental disabilities throughout the county who use paratransit and public transportation to get to these two centers for arts training. The Arts Commission has, over the years, offered the Cultural Arts Award, and DDSO has used it for outreach projects because the training centers are just half of the story. The other half of the story is to raise the public consciousness about the contributions of persons with disabilities in the arts. And this is very much a regional issue. I'll give you a few examples. Among the things that have been funded by this Cultural Arts Award have been the mural project, which installed 18 murals bringing the imagery and iconography particular to adults with developmental disabilities to nonprofits throughout the county. They did 18 installations over the years. 8 of those are county sites like La Sierra Cultural Center and the SPCA, I think it's out on Power Inn Road. So these make the public aware of the quality of art, visual art that's coming from persons with disabilities. Another major project that we have done is the Short Center Repertory, which takes actors with developmental disabilities trained at the center and also from the community and presents them at mainstream theaters to the public to raise public consciousness about the ability and the contribution of those actors. Without this kind of award, like the Cultural Arts Award, this message isn't going to get out. It isn't attractive to private funders because there's no marquee with a logo name on it. This is a public consciousness issue. And I so much appreciate, we're a current grantee this year, and I so much appreciate what it has allowed, the outreach to the community that has happened because of this grant. I'm shocked to hear that the separation between the city and the county is going to end this. I hope it doesn't, and I'm certainly going to be at the city to lobby this same issue. But if it doesn't, then I have to appeal to you that this is a regional issue. The actors in our production last year of Inner Vision were 6 blind actors from all parts of the county, from Citrus Heights, South Sacramento, Rancho Cordova, etc. We're coming up, my time is out, we're going to have a deaf production of Vagina Monologues at the Parkway Theater in February 15th and 16th, reaching out to the deaf community, which is obviously countywide.
Can I ask you to please conclude your
Absolutely.
statement?
So thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. Okay, Laura Ann Walton. Following Ms. Walton will be Susan Kelly DeWitt.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
My name is Laura Ann Walton. I'm the founder of Women's Wisdom Art. And I've been around for that long, and so has Wisdom. And we have greatly benefited from not only the funds from the Cultural Awards, but also from being associated with the Arts Commission. And we are a program which offers art classes to empower women. It started out as a program for homeless women and grew into a wider program and now serves women of all backgrounds. However, we specialize in inviting in women who have been marginalized by poverty, by mental illness, by abuse, whatever keeps them from achieving their full potential. The goal is empowerment. And I have a gift for you. It's our 25-year anniversary anthology of poetry and art. We celebrated that event at the Crocker Art Museum a couple of years ago. So we're heading towards our 30th, hopefully. the arts funding has been really instrumental and helpful. You know, I don't want to say it'll make all the difference, but it'll be a severe hardship on our small nonprofit to try to generate the money that the Arts Commission supported, and also just the reputation of having gotten that award. So I would walk around like Santa Claus, but maybe I should just leave him here.
You can actually give it to the clerk, and she'll see that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Okay, Susan Kelly DeWitt. And following Ms. Kelly DeWitt will be Liv Moe.
I just want to say, first of all, we are very grateful for all these decades of help and from the association with SMAC and the partnership between the county and the city arts. I've worked in the Women's Wisdom Art Program since the beginning, the Sacramento Poetry Center since the beginning, and in the arts community for many decades. And I know firsthand how important it is, the arts are, and programs like these are, for dealing with things that most people don't realize, like mental illness, like homelessness, like abuse, helping families get what they need in the community, and also having people who have never felt like they had a voice finally have one in the community. Women's Wisdom Art, for instance, having a show at the Crocker Museum, that meant individual women who never ever thought they could have a piece of art in a museum had that experience. And that couldn't have happened. We couldn't have been thriving all these decades without the help and of the Metropolitan Arts Commission, the partnership with you and all of us in the arts community. So I just hope very, very much that you will continue to get this Cultural Arts Award out there for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Liv Moe. Following Ms. Moe will be Jim Tabucci.
Good morning. Oh, wait till the clock resets.
You're good.
Okay, cool. Good morning. My name is Liv Moe. I'm the founding director of Verge Center for the Arts, and I also want to thank you for the last 43 plus years of funding that the county has contributed to the arts in the region. I have a pretty similar story to Michael Stevenson in that without the funding, I really firmly believe that Verge wouldn't be here. We started receiving CAA grant awards in 2011. And over the last 9 years, we've been able to leverage that money into establishing one of Sacramento's 2 major visual arts venues in the region. We're also the only visual arts venue in the region that I'm aware of that promotes artists of color, the trans community, people that are working outside of what has typically been seen in our arts venues regionally. So we provide a community and a place for people to connect that is really unique and vital. We serve hundreds of individuals monthly through exhibitions, classes, low-cost studio space. There's 55 artists in residence at Verge. And we also have specialized workspace like printmaking facilities, clay facilities. So basically, if you're a working artist, you have this way to plug in and get what you need that you wouldn't be able to get without us. And the last time I was here a couple weeks ago, I spoke about our studio tour, which now serves every county supervisor district and every council district in the region. So we're not just focused in one place. We really try to make sure that what we're offering reaches the entire region. Beyond that, Verge now supports a full staff and contributes not only to the regional art community, but also economically. So, you know, there's a place for artists to now teach, to now manage programs, and to do things, again, that weren't opportunities that were available 10 years ago. So I just want to thank all of you and let you know what a tremendous impact that funding has had on us to date and what can continue to be possible in the next several years. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jim Tabucci. Following Mr. Bucci, our last speaker, that's your cue if you want to speak, to sign up, will be Mr. Seth Alexander.
Good morning. My name is Jim Tabucci. I'm the president and CEO of the Sacramento Mandarins. We have been a recipient of the SMAC grant for the past 5 years. I will mention that in the beginning, when we first received the SMAC grant, we were almost at the bottom of the barrel. I think we barely made it in the cut line to receive any grant funding. During that time, what we did was we looked at the SMAC grant and the whole application process for that. It's not just the money that makes the impact. It's how you apply for the SMAC grant and what that encourages as far as forming partnerships, collaboration, what you're doing for the community, the diversity of the programs that you offer. That impacts your organization, and that has had a direct impact on my organization. What has resulted over these first 5 years? Mamie Yee expressed it best. She at one point said, nobody knows of the Sacramento Mandarins within the Sacramento region, right? I took that to heart. We then formed these partnerships. We're doing a whole lot more in the community. And now when I wear this jacket, people are like, we see you guys everywhere. Okay. As a result of the whole SMAC process, we reapplied again, and this was just 3 years ago, and I believe we were 5th from the top at that point, because of what we had done based on the application process and how that influenced our organization. So I would encourage you to continue on with these partnerships. We are always being encouraged as arts organizations to form partnerships, right? Because of the efficiencies that happen, because of all that can be gained through partnerships. We now have really constructive partnerships with the Sacramento Kings, with Crocker Art, with the school districts, Elk Grove Unified, Sac City Unified, Twin Rivers Unified, San Juan Unified, all of them, where we're now providing elementary school band programs to 16 schools around the region. They don't know if they belong in the city or in the county. They just know that they're students receiving arts education. And so I would strongly encourage that this partnership continues forward and that we can provide these programs and the influence within the region. Thank you very much.
Just for the record, Jim, I've been well aware of the Mandarins for decades, especially when I was playing drums for the C.K. McClatchy marching band.
Yes.
And had to follow you guys in a parade or two, okay?
Yes, that's great. Yeah. I should just mention one other thing. Just on Sunday, we celebrated the grand opening of our Mandarins Music Center. And so like what Liv said, we are a performing arts organization, but now we have a home that we can bring other arts organizations in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yep. Okay, our final speaker is Seth Alexander.
Thank you. My name is Seth Alexander. I'm a business agent with United Public Employees. I'm speaking on item number 12,
okay.
Which includes...
That's not this item. This is item number 2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I noted it on the card. I'm sorry.
Oh. Sorry, I was looking at 2. So, why don't you go ahead and speak, because I think we have all the speakers. Just want to make sure anyone that wants to speak to item number 2. Okay, all right. We've heard everyone from item number 2. Let the clerk read item 12 into the record, please.
Item 12 is the salary resolution amendments and amendments to the Conflict of Interest Code for the month of January 2020.
Go ahead.
Number 12 includes a recommendation for a salary amendment associated with the classification study for the Department of Human Assistance. UP is in support of this item. It will increase the salaries of 2 of our classifications, but I did want to speak on it because it's coming before you today on a delay because the department during our negotiations failed to properly value one of the classifications, and The amendment that you're receiving is the result of a fact finder's finding in favor of UPE. This delay results in the reorganization that's associated with this being delayed by 3 months, which the department said was needed in order to provide better services to the community. It could have been avoided if the department had realized that what its own classification study said, which is that the SES classification was an advanced journey classification, and as such should have been paid as a promotional class. The fact finder agreed with UPE, and that is what's brought before you. So we are in favor of it. We're happy that it's moving forward, but we're disappointed that it was delayed. And so, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Tully?
Yeah, I was on item 2, if I could.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
go ahead.
To follow on. I think that certainly the testimony we heard here this morning, I find it pretty informative, but also I think it speaks to to the partnerships. And I guess maybe the easier thing would be to kind of go our own way and have a budget exercise and develop our own process. We've been a partner in this process. But when I look at the attachment that came with item 2, and you see 59, nearly 60 organizations that get funding, some an order of magnitude of a few $100s and some a couple thousand, and obviously some of the larger awards, nothing bigger than 30,000. That you look at how that money, $500,000, which is not an insignificant sum, is spent. I guess I would just suggest that as we're looking at a board item, one that we have some outreach to organizations, not just those that are funded, but those who may not have received funding awards any given year, and that hopefully inform us as we have an item that comes before us. And so I guess I would ask that our staff do some of that outreach to understand the merit and certainly the value of the programming that is supported through this arts in program for more than 4 decades. Because I think before something's presented to us that says, well, you can develop your own program, you can control it, so forth and so on. Yeah, we know all those things. Those partnerships to me are very, very important. And so I think that, as Mr. Gill spoke to, that we can reach out to other cities as well, and to make it maybe a more universal approach, where obviously there's contributions from some of our other city partners in this. But I would hope that the analysis was taking into account what we heard today, but also I'm sure there's similar comments from other organizations, those that are funded, maybe some that weren't funded in any given year. And I think that would be very helpful to this board when this comes back to us in the spring. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other members of the board wish to comment on item 2? I'll offer my comments. First of all, I want to express my appreciation to those that came today to principally just thank the county, and obviously also express how important art is, not just from the angle of appreciating visual arts, appreciating performing arts, but the therapeutic value of art. That is such an important part of what art means to human beings. And I can tell you, as someone that aspires to play as much music as he can on occasion, that's how I kind of maintain my sanity, is playing music with my band. I think others on this board who have been very, very engaged in the art world, whether it be sculpture or other visual arts, and have members of their family that are very accomplished artists, would tell you the same thing, that there's a tremendous societal value to making sure that the arts are supported. And I just want to thank you for coming out today. You didn't need to necessarily do that. I think you were probably going to see a unanimous vote, unanimous support for this item on our consent calendar in any event, but it means a lot to know that you came and took time out of your respective schedules to offer what you did this morning. So thank you. All right. Don't have any speaker slips on any other item on consent, so the chair would like to move the consent calendar with the changes noted by the clerk earlier in the meeting.
Second.
It's been seconded by Supervisor Frost. Please vote.
Unanimous vote.
Great, thank you.
Item 47 is the presentation of resolution honoring Jared Elster for his professionalism and bravery demonstrating the highest standards to public safety.
Okay, I know that Ms. Peters is going to present this. I don't know if, Liz, did you want to also join her? Okay.
Hi, Jared. Good morning. We're here today to recognize Jared Elster for his bravery and professionalism about a month and a half ago. And because the details are very important, I'm going to read most of it. On December 11th, 2019, 2 individuals patronizing the Auburn Public Library in Placer County were attacked and stabbed in what has been described as a random attack. And our Sacramento County Regional Parks Ranger, Jared Elster, who was off duty at the time, arrived approximately at the same time as the individual to pick up a family member at the library and heard someone yell, "Call 911." Ranger Elster proceeded to determine what was causing the chaos and witnessed the suspected perpetrator jumping over a table after having just stabbed a library patron in the face, and observed this same subject continue his rampage by attacking another library patron, stabbing that person in the chest. Ranger Elster, despite being unarmed, bravely and unselfishly intervened by engaging the attacker by yelling and identifying himself as a police officer, causing the suspect to take flight. Ranger Elster, without regard for his own safety, pursued the armed suspect out of the library, and through that decisive action stopped the suspect's ability to inflict further injury upon any other library patrons, which included children and elderly adults. During the pursuit, he was confronted by the suspect, who was still armed with a knife, and proceeded to slash at Ranger Elster, causing cuts to his hands, although that is not what is causing his right hand injury here. The Auburn Police Department arrived soon after, ultimately leading to the capture of the suspected attacker. In words of the Auburn police officer, Ranger Elster's immediate heroic action resulted in definitely stopping more tragedy from happening. So we don't get an opportunity very often in the job you have to talk about really happy things. But this was excellent work, and we want to recognize your professionalism and bravery for demonstrating the highest standards and commitment to public safety on the day of that attack, and express the utmost pride in him and his service as a park ranger for the Department of Regional Parks. So I have this plaque for you, and
Here, I'll go on the side.
yeah, so if you'd like to say, do you want to say a few words, or no?
No.
He's a man of few words, but
Thank you.
it was wonderful to read that you accomplished that, and you threw yourself out without regard for your own safety. So I think not only as a member of the county family, we really wanted to recognize you and thank you for your efforts.
Well, I appreciate this. Thank you.
We're going to take a picture. Want one with the whole team?
Yeah.
Come on, team, come down. I'll get a picture taken. Liz, too. It's a shy bunch.
It is a shy bunch.
Yeah.
They can't.
Let's stand in the middle. Switch in. We need a few more on this side.
Come on over on this side.
Maybe we should go into the...
You want to
Why don't you come into the pit?
Yeah, I think
We'll go
so.
here.
Let's move back to the well here. Didn't realize there were so many people.
We're very, very proud of you.
Gotta squeeze in.
Pretend like you.
All right, thanks again. And I'll just take the opportunity to, since they're here, to thank all of our park ranger personnel who continue to, day in and day out, maintain public safety on our park assets. You guys do an amazing job, and I know it doesn't come easily to do what you do. I think all 5 of us have spent notable time doing ride-alongs and understanding what you do, especially along the parkway. So I just want to take the opportunity to thank you all for what you profess to do for the residents of Sacramento County. Thank you. Okay.
You can stay for the rest of the agenda if you want. Maybe not.
Okay, for your next item, item 48, this is the 2019 Employee Giving Campaign report back.
Good morning, Chair Cerna and members of the board. It's my pleasure to be here this morning. My name is Lee Seal. I'm the probation chief for the county. I had the honor of working with a great team of people this year on the employee giving campaign. It's an opportunity to raise funds for a number of important charities and groups that all of us value so much, and really kind of come together as a county family in support of giving to others and thinking about others. I'd like to give you a little bit of information about our campaign this year. We had a team of people working to make a number of events happen as we do every year. I want to thank Angelina Bryan, who's here, probably wishing I wouldn't call her out, but I will. Lindsay Simone, Peggy Hauer from our team in probation, but also the important work of other county departments as well. Doug Sloan, Vice Chair from Waste Management, who will take over as the chair next year. Melissa McGoldrick, who is indispensable, invaluable. Dave Dickinson from Animal Care, Vida Tsimbal from Animal Care, and Catherine Kramer from DTEC. It's quite a bit of work to put these events together, and this team was selfless in donating their time and making all of it a successful campaign this year. We did set an audacious goal. We knew at the time we were probably setting something beyond reach, but we wanted to give ourselves something to reach for. We did that. We raised $234,984,000, which is a tremendous testament to the work and contributions of the county. And I think, honestly, we should kind of give ourselves a round of applause. We had a number of events, as we do every year. The 5K, I think, quite honestly, we probably need to figure out what we're going to do next year, because it has become so popular that it fills up immediately. We max out the capacity of our park staff. I think they've left, but we could probably do 2 or 3 or 4 of these events. We have tremendous participation from everyone, including yours truly. It was great to be out there this year. We had some other department heads as well, so it's always fun to get in some good-natured rivalry and a little bit of trash talk along the way. So all for a great cause. We had a golf tournament as well that raised $34,500. A lot of fun. So we'll give some credit to the top fundraisers this year. We break it into tiers by the size of their departments. County Council, as they did last year, first place among the smallest tier of employees. A shout out to the County Clerk Recorder, who came in second 2 years in a row. Public Defender, again this year in the second tier in first place. New this year in second place, Transportation in the second tier. And then finally in tier 3, our largest group of county employees, the sheriff, as they did last year, took first place, and DHA again in second place. So tremendous job by all of those groups to show up and participate and raise money for a great cause. Before we come down with the check and a photograph, I just want to share a few photographs from the events themselves. You can see some people you recognize. I won't call them out by name. Perhaps they weren't expecting to be shown here today, but you can see all the smiles, some department heads, probation's there, Health and Human Services, Child, Family, Adult Services, some great outfits, a lot of coordination, some serious runners, and some people out there just have a great time. So it was a great event. I will say one other thing that I've noticed as we try to drive that number higher and higher each year and try to raise as much as we can. What I see happening as someone who's worked in government for now a couple of decades, comparing to, thinking back to when I started and really never doing anything like this. Can't recall ever participating in this kind of, concerted fundraising for a great cause. Now, really, what is happening is that this giving campaign isn't just a giving campaign. It's not a month or a couple months each year, but it's really a culture of giving that I think has infused all of the county. And I give as an example the fact that though this campaign is wrapped up and we've got a check, as a department, and we're working with other departments, we're all raising money right now for the Northern California Special Olympics. We're going to go jump in Lake Natoma and freeze our butts off in a week from now. And we're out there with UC Davis supporting this event, people donating their own time, they're running, they're showing up at the Capitol. This is all employees who are giving, again, on their own time, their own resources, because they care deeply about this, doing things like tip a cop at local restaurants to raise money for a great cause. It's not just our department. We're out there with other law enforcement, the Sheriff's Department. There's a number of things like this throughout the year, and this kind of thing has really taken off. I think it's a testament to the kind of quality of employees we have who are so selfless, willing to do this kind of thing. And I just want to mention that because we make a big point about the giving campaign, I think rightly so, but I think it's also helped bring about a culture of giving, and that's really what it's all about. So with that, let's bring the check down, and we'd like to present it to the board. Ask Chair Phil Cerna if he'd be willing to come down and accept this on behalf of the hard work that county employees have undertaken this year. I present to the County of Sacramento, should I turn around this way?
I think you're photographers.
Okay. $234,984. Wow.
That's your key to applause.
Great.
Since I'm down here and since the chief is at my side, just let me say on behalf of the Board of Supervisors and the residents of the county that benefit from all you do in terms of your daily service delivery in various agencies, but also in your charitable capacity. I want to express our deep gratitude for what you do in this campaign every single year. It's remarkable. And as the second greatest employer in the county of Sacramento, second only to the state of California, I would only hope that we are not shy about the generosity of our esteemed employees. And so I'm hopeful that there is a means to literally broadcast out by way of press releases and whatnot in terms of what the employees do. I think it's newsworthy, quite frankly, and others besides those in the county family should understand the big hearts of those that serve the county of Sacramento.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Good.
Okay, next item, please.
For item 49, I need a motion to continue this to February 11th. It's the funding request by South County Fire Districts for Safely Out Kids.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Supervisor Antoli. Chair will second. Please vote.
Unanimous vote.
Okay. Next item, please.
For item 50, you are acting as the Board of Supervisors and the Housing Authority of the County of Sacramento. This is the Rental Assistance Demonstration Project Phase 1 Retax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act hearing, approval of the final tax exempt bonds, and the RAD and loan documents and ground lease.
Good morning, Chair Cerna and members of the board. Ann Nichols with Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency. In July 2019, the board approved the issuance of up to $25 million in mortgage revenue bonds for the rehabilitation of 6 scattered sites owned by the county and city housing authorities, collectively known as the Rental Assistance Demonstration Phase 1 project. The report before you is for the approval of the tax equity and fiscal responsibility and final loan documents, which include $950,000 of home funds and bond documents. The closing is scheduled in February, and construction will begin shortly thereafter. Representatives from Sacramento Housing Authority are here, and staff is available to address any questions you have.
Okay. Any questions by board members?
Nope.
Nope. Sounds like we had thorough briefings, all of us. So, okay, I have no one signed up to speak on this item. If there's no questions by board members, is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Supervisor Frost, second by Supervisor Tully. Please vote.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, for item 51, you are back as the Board of Supervisors. This is the Cal Expo Chevron expansion request for a conditional use permit amendment, special development permit, and design review for a convenience store and fuel station expansion located at 2000 Arden Way in the Arden Arcade community. If there are speakers, Chairman, we do need to take an oath.
Okay, thank you. Who is leading us off?
I don't see anyone from planning.
I'm not seeing any planning staff here.
Oh, here comes Manny.
Manny, you're up. Chris, you're up.
That was good timing. I apologize.
I'm going to swear in people first, I guess.
If they plan to speak, we're going to swear folks in. So, Madam Clerk, if you can do that, please.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
Okay, so please raise your right hand, and the appropriate response is, I do. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give this board is the truth, so help you God? If you do not swear, do you so affirm? When you get to the podium, please state your name for the record and the statement, I have been sworn.
Okay, good morning, Chair Cerna, board members, Chris Bahuli with the Planning and Environmental Review Department. I will be providing the staff presentation for this item and the next one, which are both related to the redevelopment of the Chevron service station and extra mile convenience store located at Arden and Ethan Ways in the Arden Arcade community. The slideshow, this slide shows the location of the site on the southeast corner of Arden and Ethan Way, which is zoned light commercial and is adjacent to the How About Arden Shopping Center. The applicant requests an amendment to their existing use permit, as well as a special development permit and design review. The request is to amend the use permit granted by the board in 1985 to demolish the existing 618 square foot convenience store and replace it with a new 1,580 square foot convenience store, add 2 new fueling islands, and construct a new trash enclosure with required landscape screening. The special development permit will allow for a small deviation in the trash enclosure setback and will allow for project signage to exceed 125 square feet. I have a couple of exhibits to show. This first one is the site plan. I should note that I do not have a slide demonstrating the landscape plan, which is included in your agenda packet as attachment 5, Exhibit C. There was a board comment yesterday related to the tree species depicted in the landscape plan and a request to change out the southern magnolia trees for Chinese pistache. Staff and the applicant are agreeable to the change, and staff will work with the applicant through the subsequent landscape review during the building permit process to make the necessary changes to the landscape plan. The next 2 slides are perspective views. This one is of the north and east elevations. I'm sorry. There must just be one. This is the north and east elevations. This slide is a perspective of the signage on the pumps. I should note that that the signage calculated for the entire project is inclusive of the fuel pumps, wall signage on the building, and the monument sign. There are existing A-frame type pricing signs on the property which are not included in the sign calculation, and the applicant has agreed to remove these signs. Should there be documentation from the state that these pricing signs are required, staff will work with the applicant through a subsequent design review on a more permanent solution. Key points for the project. The applicant and their architecture team have worked with staff and the DRAC to ensure the project is complementary of the redeveloped Howbat Arden Shopping Center. As I stated earlier, this project amends the existing use permit from 1985, and the recommended conditions for this project will supersede all previous conditions. Following this item, the board will consider the request for PCN for the project. The project was considered by the DRAC and the Arden Arcade CPAC, with the DRAC recommending the board find the project in substantial compliance with the design guidelines, and the CPAC providing an advisory recommendation in support of the request. The Planning Commission met on December 9th, 2019, and recommended approval of the project subject to a revision to the base of the monument sign to incorporate stone material from the Howbat Arden Shopping Center. This slide shows the updated monument sign, as well as the Howbat Arden sign with the stone base that will be incorporated into the monument sign.
It also shows the illegal temporary sign.
That it does.
I want to point that out.
Just while you have the slide up there, I had commented to the applicant when I met with him that I bet you're selling a lot of regular and diesel, but they're not selling much premium gasoline at $8.90 a gallon. So
I made the same comment.
Finally, staff is recommending that the board approve the conditional use permit amendment and special development permit, find the project in compliance with the countywide design guidelines, and recognize the exempt status of the project. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, before we hear from the applicant, any questions of planning staff? Supervisor Peters.
Thank you. I was making a note, and I may have missed a comment you made about those illegal signs. Did you make a comment about that?
I did, that those signs are not included in the square footage that has been identified for the special development permit, and the applicant has agreed to remove those signs.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions for staff? Okay. We'll now hear from the applicant team.
Chair Cerna, members of the board. Jim Gillum from Gillum Consulting, here on behalf of the applicant.
And you have been sworn.
Say again?
And you have been sworn.
And I have been sworn.
There you go.
Thank you, Chair. Want to thank staff for the diligent work on this project that is going to be an enhancement to the corner of Howe and Ethan. We've also worked extensively with our neighbors to ensure compatibility with the surrounding site. We are in agreement with the conditions of approval, and I am happy to answer any questions that you have.
So this came up when I had an opportunity to meet with you earlier, but just for the record, if you can briefly explain how the exterior security will be handled in terms of cameras.
Certainly. The property has cameras interior to the building as well as out on the pumps. I believe Mr. Singh indicated that they have over 16 cameras on the site. There's also a condition of approval from the Sheriff's Department related to the ABC permit for interior camera coverage as well.
And I assume at least one camera, maybe more than that, will face south of basically the property line. I believe there's a backside wall to kind of a separate, to the separate store building there. That's the one that you have like the 3 trellises on, so that there will be some visual, ability to visually monitor the area that is immediately to the south. Correct?
Let me confer with my client and make sure that he's comfortable with that. On the back side of the building, we're happy to provide a camera in that location.
Okay, great. Okay, anyone else from your team wish to address the board?
Only if you have questions for the architect
Okay,
or the owner.
any questions for the architect? All right, seeing none, I don't have any public speakers signed up. Ms. Peters?
Thank you. I am going to recommend approval of this item. It's bothered me since I got on the board that gas stations seem to be the entrance to Arden Arcade on all avenues, and they're a necessary item in our daily life, but they're not always the most attractive. And I think the applicant worked very hard to do the best he could to make it attractive, and also complementary to the HBA shopping center, which has this is a very large investment for the applicant, and HBA has spent quite a bit of money on there, so doing the best they can to be appropriately complementary. I'm very glad to hear that the propane tank and the bathroom that was outdoors, the bicycle parking are going to be enclosed. That will help clean up the look of the site, and that the applicant agreed to remove the illegal temporary signs. The cameras we were going to cover in the the ABC licensing, but in this case on the exterior, as mentioned, there are 16 cameras and the sheriff has access to them. So, and there's going to be more extensive landscaping than there is now. So I think it's appropriate to approve this with those changes that were mentioned by planning staff. So I'll move the item.
Okay, I'll second it, and just make mention of the fact that this property resides on the border between our respective districts, District 1 and District 3. I had a number of questions during my briefing with the applicant, not just on cameras, which I've made mention of already, but also on some of the items that Supervisor Peters just mentioned, especially landscaping, signage, and I think it's definitely going to be an improvement, but I would share her general remarks about gas stations being kind of the monuments to our corridors. I understand the necessity of them, but at some point in the future, it would be nice to look at these kind of marquee intersection corners and look for other uses that are a little more inviting than just price signs for gas. So with that, please vote.
Unanimous vote.
Did you second it?
Yeah.
Okay, for item 52, this is a request for a public convenience or necessity letter regarding issuance of a Type 20 liquor license to the Extra Mile convenience store. This is located at 2000 Arden Way in the Arden Arcade community.
Okay, Chris Bahuli once again. This item is a request for a letter of public convenience or necessity related to the previous item. The applicant requests a premise-to-premise transfer of a Type 20 off-sale beer and wine ABC license to the proposed Extra Mile convenience store. The applicant has owned the site for over 2.5 years and is in good standing. This slide is the 1 mile radius map and illustrates that there are 13 establishments with ABC licenses to sell alcohol in the 1 mile radius area. Key points for this request include that this is a premise-to-premise transfer of an existing ABC license. Their current license allows the applicant to sell alcohol from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m., and they are not subject to the Sheriff's Department best management practices. The site is located in an over-concentrated area with 13 establishments with licenses. Staff estimates that 7 of those 13 have Sheriff's Department conditions associated with their license, and if this request is approved, 8 of the 13 will have those conditions. The Arden Arcade CPAC considered the request and provided an advisory recommendation to support the item. Also, staff has evaluated the request for consistency with the newly adopted EJ elements, environmental justice elements, policies, and has not identified any issues. Staff recommends the board approve the request for a letter of public convenience or necessity with the Sheriff's Department's best management practice conditions included on the ABC license and business license. Those conditions include the security conditions that the board has adopted on their more recent PCN requests. I should note that the detail on this slide is incorrect and that alcohol sales will be limited from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., not 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay, any questions for planning staff? Seeing none?
Chris, thank you for your presentation. I'm going to recommend approval of this. It does clean up particularly it's an old license and not adding a new one, and it's subject to the sheriff's best practices, and it also takes out a public pay telephone that's on site, and includes training of staff on how to sell alcohol, and the no single sales. And it's another element of the county's general movement in the unincorporated county to clean up the conditions of liquor stores in general. And so I would move approval of it.
Okay, I'll second it. If there are no further questions, please vote.
Unanimous vote.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, that concludes our morning session. We are going to adjourn to closed session and be back here for open session at 2 o'clock.